From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A close encounter of a grisly kind shook a father and his son while stopping on the Beartooth Highway. Coming up, find out how they escaped without getting hurt and a message that sends.
I'm Mitch Laggy. This recent cold snap has people in Billings calling on their heater repairman. I'll bring you some preventative maintenance tips to save money on your bill coming up.
And Bozeman voters being asked to approve a bond for park facility repairs. Coming up, learn what that money will buy and why the city says it's vital to take action on the projects right now. Time right now, it's 6:31.
That is a great
Isn't that beautiful?
shot. That's great.
Absolutely lovely with the celebration of Indigenous Peoples Day from Pete's Hill. The teepee's up on the top of that.
Beautiful.
We'll be there, I believe, until the 17th. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out.
Get a chance to go out and check it out. That's for sure.
Super cool. Yeah.
Temperatures this morning into the 20s and 30s. Truthfully, the traffic conditions today much better. There's still some ice on a few area passes. Yes. There's still some ice and snow on a few area roadways, but definitely clearer conditions. We'll probably see some sunshine for at least a short period today. We do have some snow in the forecast as you get into the evening and overnight hours. I don't think that's going to bring us much accumulation for most of the area. Temperatures should be near the 40-degree mark in Bozeman. It looks like for Butte, upper 30s. We do have a warm-up on the way. I'll break that down, of course, in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. Just ahead of 6:32 now. Roberts man has a warning for those of us who like to frequent the Beartooth Mountains. Comes after he and his 2-year-old son were charged 3 times by a grizzly bear. Pair is shaken but safe and now has a message for anyone stepping out of their vehicle on the Beartooth Highway. Here's MTN's Andrea Lutz with their story.
An ordinary day in October turned out to be heart-pumping for Thomas Ryder and his son Connor.
We frequent that area all the time.
Just up the scenic Beartooth Pass, Thomas says the Line Creek Trail is a place they often go. With Connor packed in a hiking carrier, they set off.
We park off the side of the highway up there and we walk down a little bit. There's a snowbank down there that Connor liked to play on. And it wasn't there this time, so we went a little further.
The family has memory after memory here.
We were going to go down there and sit on the shore. I was going to let him just play and do what 2-year-olds do. I probably went another 150 yards, if that. And then this is when that bear decided to charge.
They were met with a male grizzly, likely protecting something.
I saw this bear just charge out of some shrubs.
But after that encounter, it wasn't over.
I turned around and I headed up the side of the mountain just as fast as I could go.
3 different times, Thomas says the bear buffed up and charged, but the proximity to him and Connor kept getting closer.
He said, "There's a grizzly bear, Daddy. We got to get out of here." And in the process, he lost his green Paw Patrol hat. So there's a green Paw Patrol hat up there. And he was pretty concerned about that. He held it together really well.
Thomas has been hiking in these mountains since the 80s and never thought he'd have to have bear spray or a handgun. But now he says, take it from him, always come prepared.
If you plan on going out, you better be prepared. Have a pistol, rifle, have your bear spray, and just don't have it on you. Train with it.
And now that he knows grizzlies hang out at his favorite trail, he says maybe for now, he'll give that spot a break.
Yeah, I'll keep going up there. I'll probably give Line Creek a break, but I'll be going up to other areas up there.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
6:34 now. Certainly a chill in the air this morning, and that means you may be looking to warm up your house a bit. But is your heating system ready? MTN's Mitch Laggy reports on what you need to do to make sure you can stay warm.
Here in Billings, the recent October cold snap has some people reaching for their thermostat dial, only to find that when they turn it, their furnace isn't working. John Dawson, owner of R&T Services here in Billings, told me that in the past 2 days, they've had about 50 or 60 calls for people wanting to get their heat back on.
We wake up, we come in, yesterday morning, and immediately at 8 a.m., phones are ringing off the hook. Folks are already having issues, and this is something that we would expect.
Dawson said most of the recent calls were from people with small problems, like particulate matter or other grime that just needs to be cleaned off a sensor. The real test for everyone's heat system will be on day's end of sub-zero temps. To prevent problems down the road, Dawson said the rule of thumb is to replace your furnace filter once a month to keep the system running smoothly. It also doesn't hurt to have a tech come look over the heater for bigger problems.
A lot of this stuff becomes very much taken for granted and out of sight, out of mind, and that's kind of what we want from our heating equipment. But being sure to go and replace that filter, plays a huge role in maintaining the longevity of your equipment. It's a lot cheaper to go and just maintain a furnace and maybe replace a part from time to time rather than going and changing it out.
A new furnace install can run you between $4,000 and $15,000, underscoring the wisdom of preventative maintenance for those on a budget. And the heating industry isn't immune from global supply shortages. Dawson said in the past few months, some manufacturers have raised their prices by 8%.
We've definitely seen some continued strain in that global supply of stuff there. Right now, it looks like we're set up. A lot of places are really set up with furnaces and ready to go for those changeouts. I don't know what that's going to look like in 2 months. That's just kind of the way that things are right now, unfortunately.
Stay warm, Montana. In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
All right, thank you, Mitch. 6:36 now is part of our continuing coverage of bonds on this November's ballot. MTN's Edgar Cedillo looks into the smallest of the three measures.
It's facilities that have been loved for generations, and the city of Bozeman says it's time to upgrade these in order to keep using them for the future generations.
The number of people that I speak to that their parents learned to swim here, they learned to swim here, now their children are learning to swim at Bogart.
These investments, which the city of Bozeman says are critical in order to keep these three facilities open.
My concern becomes more and more closures at our facilities.
A bond measure on the November ballot aims to fix critical infrastructure like the air ventilation system, which they say is needed for the functionality of the building, but also for the safety of patrons.
To keep the temperature and to keep the air fresh inside.
If the $2.2 million bond passes, officials hope to spend $600,000 renovating the Bogart pool, $1.1 million renovating the swim center, and $500,000 to retrofit the Lindley Center.
So it's the parking lot, it's the complete envelope, insulation, updating to ADA compliance.
The $2.2 million bond could equate to about a $7 tax increase per year on a home with the median assessed value of $364,000. Officials say the time has passed, that these projects are long overdue, and they want to get to work on them before the community starts to notice a negative impact.
Frankly, it's in such dire of improvements that it's so much more functional. With the growth of the community, the impact to parks and recreation systems has been significant.
If the bond passes, Overton says voters could see improvements soon.
The need and the use in our community for facilities like this has only become more critical.
Voters should expect to see their ballots in their mailbox by this Wednesday. In Bozeman, I'm Edgar Cedillo for MTN News.
All right, thank you very much, Edgar. By the way, the newest member of our family here, we're very glad to have you on the team. 6:38 now, if you get COVID, there's a good chance you're experiencing loss of sense and smell. Medical community is still working to understand it, but Forrest Sanders visits with a woman who says her whole life has been preparing her to help people experiencing this side effect.
Finding fresh ingredients and making meals for the people she loves has always been special to Mimi Ellis. Her parents were French immigrants who passed down their love of good cooking.
Growing up, everything was about what's for dinner. Food is such a huge, huge part of my life.
But one morning, while going through an upper respiratory infection, Mimi walked into her kitchen and couldn't smell fresh coffee. She worked as a physician's assistant in an ear, nose, throat practice and knew something was wrong.
I knew that there was a potential that it was never going to get better. Smell is a big part of taste. That informs about 80% of what we think of as taste. Couldn't perceive flavor, couldn't tell you what was an apple and what was a pear. I was really angry. Big time, angry, angry, angry. I literally took all my cookbooks. I put them all in boxes and threw them in the garage.
Mimi told her family then she wouldn't cook again. But one day her mind was changed, and that started with her daughter Zoe.
My daughter is small in stature. She has a condition, it's the most common form of dwarfism. My daughter's 3'11" and she competed on her high school swim team.
And through her daughter, Mimi also met Paralympians in competitive swimming.
The resiliency was just life-changing.
Nothing was stopping any of them. So Mimi figured, time to unbox the cookbooks. According to the Journal of Internal Medicine, about 86% of people with COVID have experienced a loss of smell, though most of them recover it within 60 days. The pandemic has a lot more people talking about a temporary or permanent loss of smell. Many are also experiencing parosmia, where everything smells bad or rotten.
Yes, there absolutely is hope.
You see, Mimi is now a registered dietitian, a certified health coach, and founder of the program and website Getting Well When You Can't Smell. She teaches courses and does one-on-one Zoom meetings with people who have lost their sense of smell on what to prepare for meals.
Good.
That means training them to use the senses they have and concentrate on the textures of food and the sounds they make when you bite into them.
Hone in on those other sensory aspects of food.
This is called olfactory retraining, one way of trying to return a sense of smell.
I like it. It's very colorful. I mean, it's very big dish.
You get a little bite from the black pepper, and then you put it all together with all these colors and textures and tastes.
A woman who inherited a love of good food now says she has recovered much of her sense of smell. She's grateful to everyone who's led her to this day of helping so many decide what's for dinner. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Forrest Sanders.
Looks so good. 6:42 now. We're going to take a break. When we come back, former